welcome to this episode. Today we thought it might be a worthwhile endeavor to talk about some of the essentials that you need to be paying attention to in order to have a successful boondocking experience. This list is based on our experience. We've been out on the road for just about a year. Quite a bit of that has been spent boondocking, and we've developed our own ideas around what we need to do to be successful out here. Making sure that your rig is in good shape. So one of the things that I've been doing is making sure that the lug nuts on the tires are torqued. You will have specification for your tires. It is recommended that they be torqued on a pretty regular basis, and I think we're doing it once a week. Yeah, we are once a week. Also going around both the inside and the outside, looking for anything that looks like it's loose, making sure that all of the screws and bolts are tight. And one that we weren't really aware of until relatively recently was getting up and checking your roof on a regular basis. This is something that we thought, oh, the roof is fine.
Every 6 months?
What we didn't realize is that when we bought this rig, it was a used rig.
8 years old.
And it sat outside for most of that time. And then we get down into the southern US where the sun is very intense and those UV rays are very intense. And we discovered that the dirt on the roof was not dirt.
Or mold.
So we had to have our roof redone, recoated and resealed in order for it to be good for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. Yeah, and I didn't know what I was looking for, honestly. So thankfully in the last place we were at, there was somebody that had been doing roof repairs for more than 27 years professionally.
Yeah, RV tech, 27 years experience. He does just about everything.
So we were able to hire him to do the job, and I'm actually, it was money well spent, because I didn't know what I was doing. So that's one thing, just roof and rig maintenance, making sure that it's all up to speed. Because
once you're out here, like we're in, as you can tell, we're in an off-road area, and although we're 3 miles from Salton City, there's not a lot of choices if your rig goes down.
I guess in terms of rig maintenance, another one that we want to make sure of is tank maintenance. Making sure that your tanks are, for gray and black water, empty before you go out, and your fresh water, make sure that it is filled up. There's very few places that we have found that have dump stations right at the dispersed camping areas. There are a few.
Those are usually the long stay dispersed camping ones.
So just making sure that you've got tanks that will be able to manage your expectations for as long as it is that you want to be out. And so we have just a little bit of water in our black tank as we're coming in. I don't want to have it completely dry, but our freshwater tank, we like to have at least 50 gallons of water in there, and that's usually enough. And our tanks are big enough that we can usually get at least a week boondocking before we have to go either empty the tanks or fill up with fresh water. Now, as far as checking things out, Libby did a fantastic job of kind of looking at this area before we arrived. So what are some of the things that you did to check out the area? This would be the next one on our list, is know where it is that you're going.
Yeah, I use a few apps or sites. Dirt, Camponia.
You want to spell that?
Pandium.
Pandium.
Yeah, that's not, I can say linoleum. So I look at these sites, read the reviews, look at the photos, look at the dates that these reviews were done. I also look at weather. Not just AccuWeather, but I look into the government weather sites. We're also using RV Life. And so that's what I do.
Oh, and satellite imagery.
Yeah, satellite imagery. The satellite can be very out of date, but they give you an idea of what you're doing.
And where you're going. I mean, we've had, as we mentioned in a way back ago video, we were going boondocking and I turned off on the wrong road and we ended up in a place where our rig just should not be. And
Yeah.
we ended up almost tipping the rig, but ending up with a pretty big dent in the tailgate. And so just really knowing where it is that you're going and being prepared for it, and also making sure, I guess in that case, that you have a vehicle that is equipped enough to be able to get wherever it is that you need to go, or where it is that you want to go.
For this area, because it is desert and soft, could have soft sand, especially after the windstorm. And four-wheel drive is really good, especially when you're towing. We were fine with two-wheel drive without the trailer.
Yeah, the sand got really boggy, and so I had to flip into four-wheel drive to get us into this spot that we're in. And we've had this on a couple of boondocking experiences, massive wind. And here, everything is coated with dust and sand. Even things that were closed in are coated with sand. My Traeger is inside its case, zippered closed. It was on a table. The wind was strong enough to blow it and the table over. And even with a zipped up case, opened it up and there's sand all inside. All of the bins are filled with sand. So I would just say mentally be prepared for the weather that you may be getting. And windstorm is one of those ones that we now have lots of experience with. With the wind, we also discovered that solar panels, which is our main source of recharging our power station, do not do well in the wind. But what we also discovered is that they still will charge up the power station being laid flat on the ground. And then I was just using some wood planks and some rocks to hold them so they wouldn't blow away. And it managed, we had enough sun to be able to at least keep the power station going.
Yeah. And with weather and the territory, in the desert, there's these things called washes. Do not camp in them, because if it rains, that's where the water rushes through.
For us, power isn't just the electricity, it's also our stove and water heater, fridge, which is running off of propane. So knowing that we were going to be out, knowing that we were going to be out boondocking for at least 2 weeks on this particular leg of the trip, we stopped off and topped up both of our propane tanks. One only took a gallon and the other one was empty. So we filled both of those up just so that I'd have peace of mind knowing that we've got enough power in terms of propane to be able to run the fridge and the water heater and cooking on the stove inside the rig.
Especially during the windstorm. What was it, 37 hours of high winds?
Yeah, 37 hours.
So we couldn't use the Traeger outside, so we had to have propane inside.
I guess to that end, making sure that you've got enough food and water. I think that's kind of logical, but just check that off, because where we are, we've gone and scoped out both of the stores that we have here. One is a gas station convenience store. It has no fresh food or vegetables. The other one in this area, it's 3 miles away, and it is a very small store. And their entire produce section fits inside of a pop cooler.
Oh,
so
but they do have $2 stores, and I went into Dollar Tree, and it was like the old 5 and dimes or a small department store. It was big and packed with things, quite a variety of things. Definitely a more of a department store and a food store.
Yeah.
They had coolers and everything.
But just make sure that you've got all of the food and water, drinking water that you're going to need for not just the amount of time that you're going to stay, but make sure that you've got an extra couple of days in case something goes sideways and you need to stay for another couple of days. You don't want to be running out of food, and you particularly don't want to be running out of water. Now, another one that we mentioned, that sometimes you will find some of these BLM dispersed camping that have fresh water or places to dump your tank. Those are rare. Even more rare are places that have pit toilets and garbage disposal. We haven't found too many of those. In fact, I think this is the first one we found that had, second one.
But these are pit toilets that are clean.
This one's really nice. This is a nice area. Now, this is another one that I guess I've got a little bit of a bone to pick from people that have been in these sites before. The basic premise of this is you pack it in, you pack it out. And that's just kind of logical. And we would wish that everybody would actually do that. We have tried to make a point of making sure that our sites are actually cleaner when we leave than when we got here. We spend an incredible amount of time just going around and picking up other people's garbage. And it's kind of frustrating.
Glass.
Yeah, glass. I don't know what it is. Why is it that people think that they have to break their beer bottles and wine bottles in order to have fun? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Take it out of here.
Especially in the fire pit.
Including if you have a dog, and we do. This is why Travels with Morrie is Morrie. With Morrie, but we want to make sure that we're not leaving the dog waste behind either. That's another thing that I find when I'm walking around here.
Yeah.
Is people that have been here before us think that this great big huge outdoors is their dog's bathroom, and it's not. Dog waste is toxic to other wildlife, and we want to
other dogs.
We want to make sure that that's all cleaned up. I guess what the bottom line of this is that we're getting free camping here. And we're really grateful that somebody is coming in to take care of this place. So, as we mentioned, there's pit toilets that are very clean. They're well maintained. There is garbage disposal here. Somebody is having to pay money to somebody to come out and take care of all of that. But we're not paying for the privilege of being here.
No.
So we just think that it's only fair that we clean up after ourselves and take care of the place as much as we can to say thank you to the people that are allowing us to be out here for free.
We should walk in and scour the area, because I think we camped on a former fire pit because there's so much glass, screws and nails.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to wonder if this was a squatter's camp years ago.
Don't be afraid to just park your truck and your rig and walk in and check out the site before you get there, just to make sure that it's going to live up to your standards. Where we ended up, where we are on this little boondocking experience, it was amazing. That is completely flat ground. We didn't have to do any leveling whatsoever. Front, back, side to side, we just parked level. And it was level.
When you're choosing a spot, don't choose it next to someone, unless that's your buddy. Because, you know, friends come out and they make a little wagon circle.
Yeah, you're fine.
Circle the wagons. But the people are out here, so they're not right next to someone else. So don't be that person that pulls up. If you can see another one, you're close enough. And when you're coming in and checking out a place, like all the pictures and all the reviews and like that, don't replace using your gut. You come into a place, even if you've already all set up and you're going, you know, I just don't feel comfortable here. Pack up and leave, move on. We feel it's really important that when you are boondocking, or even just in a regular campground, to really ensure that everything is locked up and secure.
We don't hear about a lot of thefts of rigs, but we certainly do hear about them. And if you're going to be boondocking and you have to leave your rig for any period of time, it is a really good idea to make sure that everything is secure. When we bought the rig, it came with this for the hitch, and I mean, I didn't mind it, but it didn't look to me as secure as what it could be. We decided to get something that was a little bit more robust. I don't think this one would be very easy to break into. Clicks on and in, and it's on. That prevents this from being hooked up to a truck, and this particular type of key, very difficult to duplicate that. Even if it's a sunny day, if we're going to be away, we make sure that our solar panels are put away and that the bin is locked. Along with that, making sure that all of the bins are locked. And even if it's just for an hour or so, we actually take the power station with us. Now, I know I could lock this inside the rig, but if something should happen to the rig, this is pretty expensive to replace. Not to mention that without it, we would be without power. So it's portable enough that I just put it in the back. Morrie sits on the other side, and this just goes with us. And if it has a little bit of a charge down, I can actually charge it up from the cigarette lighter. Just plug that into the port on the back, and it trickle charges. It's not a very high watts that's going into it, but it just helps to keep it up to charge if I'm away from the solar panels. Again, for successful boondocking, we just think taking the extra few minutes to make sure that everything is locked up and safe if you're going to be away from your site for any period of time. I guess one of a concluding thought, I mean, you probably heard in the background here some of the off-highway vehicles. This is a very popular place for that. We knew that coming in here, so we expected that when we arrived that we would be hearing lots of engine noise from the off-highway vehicles. But be mindful of noise. Being far away from people, I had to walk half a mile the first day we were here when there were others here to be able to even hear a generator. Now we're using solar power, so we don't make any noise in that terms, but just be aware that, that we want to make sure we keep the noise levels down as much as we can. This place, yesterday there was nobody here but us, and it was so peaceful. Except
So
for the wind. When the wind finally died down, I mean,
it was like, wait, what?
It was almost eerie. It was so quiet.
Yeah.
You couldn't hear traffic noise. There birds weren't even singing. All there was the sound of my footsteps on the gravel and Morrie on the gravel. So that's more or less our list. In summary, these are the highlights that we had that we feel are necessary to be out and have a successful boondocking experience. These are our essentials that we're paying attention to in order to get off-road.
Thus far, we may have more.
Thanks for joining us, and best of success on your boondocking experiences. We're a half mile in from the road. Yeah, and in fact, there's mile markers along here, and we're exactly at 0.5 miles from the highway.
Oh, I thought that was depth.
No, they're mile markers.
I thought when the floodwaters came.
That's how I know how far away the pit toilets are, because they're at mile marker 0.9, just beyond that.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was when the floods come.
You come and you learn. So why is it that as you go further in that the water gets higher?
Or the elevation.